Greetings, Acolytes of the Force, and welcome back to the Archives. When we were taking a look at the roster of past Sith Lords, our eyes specifically fall upon first the Old Republic. This time was a period of great war, and many Sith Lords lived during this time to rise and fall after making their mark. Unfortunately, many great Sith Lords often get sidelined when considering some of the most powerful beings in the Force that existed during the Old Republic. One of whom we believe is severely underrated is the subject of today's video, Darth Malak. When we look at the Jedi Civil War, Malak is often overlooked in favor of his counterpart in Revan, and many seem to forget just how powerful Malak truly was. He had been the primary antagonist of the Knights of the Old Republic, and yet he seems to have been almost completely forgotten. Well, that ends today, as we have decided to make a Darth Malak respect video, where we will go into detail and measure his power in the Force, skill with the lightsaber, and overall military accomplishments and genius to prove that Malak is far more powerful than you realize. Now, without further ado, let us open the holocron of Malak and begin our experiments. First though, Acolytes, there is a large sale on the Star Wars merch page, where in lieu of the holiday season, you can get t-shirts, hoodies, and far more half off. And if you utilize code WAVE at checkout, you'll get an additional 15% off your entire order. So without further ado, my friends, let us begin. The story of Revan and Malak is pretty well known in the galaxy, as they both began as Jedi, guardians sworn to protect the galaxy. Malak originally went by the name of Alec, but after he followed Revan to war against the Mandalorians, he took upon him the name of Malak in order to avoid an arrest warrant out for him by the Jedi Council. Malak was Revan's most trusted friend and comrade, and the two of them cleaved through the Mandalorians during this bloody conflict. During the war, it became clear that Revan was the brains and Malak was the brawn, as while Revan was known for his brilliant battle strategies, Malak was known for his tendency to ravenously charge headfirst into any battle. Some considered Malak to be reckless, as he typically had the highest casualty count in his forces due to his forward assault attitude. However, results are results. Pong Krell would have liked Malak. Malak's ferocity in battle was a very calculated move, as the ferocity that he fought with threw the Mandalorians for a loop, as they had been expecting the Jedi to fight defensively and minimize destruction and casualties. What won the war for Revan and Malak was their shrewdness and unwillingness to relent, even at the cost of entire planets. They cut moral corners and kept the Mandalorians guessing rather than playing fair. Malak was with Revan when they went to search the unknown regions for the Sith Emperor, and after the two became corrupted by the dark side, the two former Jedi simply added the title of Darth to their names upon their return to the known galaxy. Darth Revan was mostly stronger than Darth Malak, and thus took on the role as master, delegating Malak to the apprentice position. Malak, though, bided his time as they searched for the Starforge and waged war on the Jedi Order. Darth Malak had tried once and failed to assume the role as master when he provoked his friend to a fit of rage, resulting in a fierce lightsaber duel between Revan and Malak that cost Malak the lower half of his jaw. From that point on, he was required to wear a large metal prosthetic and use a speech enhancer in order to talk. Darth Malak knew he couldn't take Darth Revan in a full head-to-head engagement, at least not at this juncture. So, during a ferocious space conflict with the Republic, Malak ordered his ship to fire on Revan's flagship and destroy it. Malak had assumed that that would be the end of Revan. Little did he know that Revan had survived because of Bastila Shan, as well as the Jedi strike team sent to retrieve him. Malak proceeded to assume the mantle as the Dark Lord of the Sith, and take for himself an apprentice known as Darth Bandon. Darth Malak continued to wage war on the Jedi as well as the Republic, while unbeknownst to him, Revan had his mind wiped and was now aiding the Republic and the Jedi. To his shock, Malak would discover this after he destroyed the surface of Terrace from an aerial bombardment. Darth Malak would throw wave after wave of enemies at Revan, including the prolific bounty hunter Kalo Nord and his own apprentice Darth Bandon, sheeps to the slaughter. Revan managed to destroy them all before finally being confronted with Malak himself, though Bastila sacrificed herself in order to help Revan escape, knowing that in his memory-damaged state, he would be no match for Malak. In the end though, Malak spared Bastila, as she lived to be tortured, ultimately turning to the dark side. Eventually though, Revan and his friends would turn Bastila back to the light and defeat Malak on the Starforge, though not without a great deal of help and trouble. Even though Revan had regained his memories and a good deal of his power, it was still a considerably difficult battle to overcome Malak, especially since the Dark Lord had captured other Jedi and were using them to feed his own power. So, how powerful was Darth Malak really, and did he compete with Revan towards the end? Let's take a look. First off, he was far more of a pushover when it came to his lightsaber skill. Even though Malak lost both of his duels to Revan, we have to remember exactly who Revan is. The comparison here really isn't fair. Malak was considered to be one of the finest lightsaber duelists of this era, with a close to undefeated record. He defeated Bastila Shan in single combat, even though Bastila was considered a prodigy with the blade by the Jedi Council. We have to keep in mind that Malak was a Jedi Guardian leading the front lines of war against the Mandalorians. A run-of-the-mill lightsaber duelist is not going to last in a battle against an army of Mandos at the peak of their power. Malak used an aggressive one-handed style, being a master of forms 2, 4, and 7. He mixed Makashi, Ataru, and Juyo to create a devastating style that was absolutely overwhelming to anyone who tried to approach him. He mastered each of these forms to perfection, but mostly preferred the use of Form 7 after turning to the dark side. In terms of force skill is where Malak truly shined though. Malak's strength with the force enabled him to create a whirlwind of force energy that would encircle his victims, effectively creating a perfect localized force maelstrom. He also possessed the ability to create a stasis field with the force that he used to freeze his enemies in place. We've seen people such as Kylo Ren employ force freeze effectively before, but Malak used it on a much grander scale, able to root multiple enemies in one place at a time. When in battle though, he had total mastery of force valor and force speed, employing both to make it seem as though he were completely indomitable. Like most Sith, he did enjoy the liberal implementation of force lightning in frequent intervals, especially during torture. Furthermore, Malak was able to amplify his screams, triggering shockwaves that rippled through the force. This ability is traditionally known as Force Bellow, which can be used to off-balance other force wielders. But this is not Malak's greatest feat. Darth Malak mastered an extremely rare force ability. Malak was able to not only temporarily shut down the force abilities of another, but he could render himself completely invulnerable to most force powers for a limited period of time, becoming essentially a brick wall within the force. This was an especially challenging thing to overcome for Revan during their final duel, and we haven't seen another Sith Lord use this kind of power in the way that Malak did. The way that Malak fought both in his lightsaber combat and within the force made him one of the most difficult enemies for any force wielder to face, which was why he frequently slew the Jedi that came up against him. Darth Malak is certainly deserving of far more respect than most give him, and he should not be forgotten just because Revan proved to be more powerful. In terms of a comparison, I would compare Revan and Malak to the likes of Grandmaster Yoda and Mace Windu. Had Revan not risen against him, Malak likely would have been successful in his campaign against the Republic, and without Revan there, he could have taken the entire galaxy. But now, Acolytes, what do you think of Malak? Have you known about Malak's real power before this holocron, or was this your first time considering him a true threat? Let us know your thoughts and own analysis down below. And as always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.